Okay, welcome everybody to our second roundtable. We are very excited about this. We're going to talk about organ donation. We have with us several guests, Curtisha Anderson, Danny Iniquez, and Patricia Wessel. Our narrator today will be our own medical consultant, Dr. Velma Scantlebury. And as you all know, she is transplant surgeon, a general practitioner, just a jack of all trades. And I'm going to turn this over to her now. Thank you so much, everybody. And we really welcome you for joining us today. Thank you. Dr. Scantlebury?
Thank you so much, Nancy, and good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to the members of the Dialysis Patient Citizen Educational Center, as well as DPC. I see Haranis is on the call here, and I thank you all, and Hannah, so I really appreciate you guys being here. We know that for this session, we're going to talk about the importance of organ donation, but also the importance of signing up to be an organ donor, but also because the benefit is to those who are in need of transplantation. And we know that the numbers continue to increase as we have rising numbers of chronic kidney disease, as well as end-stage kidney disease. I think at last numbers I checked, there were nearly 35 million Americans with kidney disease, with chronic kidney disease. And the issue is that 9 out of 10 people are unaware that they have any kind of kidney disease. And so kidney disease is a silent disease, and it leads very subtly, will progress and can become to end-stage kidney disease without any major symptoms. And many patients end up needing a transplant or get transplanted. And we cannot really do transplants without donors, but we're grateful for those who are able to agree to the process of organ donation. And I appreciate Nancy having this webinar, this discussion here in August, because coincidentally, National Minority Donor Awareness Month is celebrated throughout the month of August. And this stemmed from National Minority Donors Awareness Day to National Minority Donor Awareness Week, all spearheaded by Dr. Clive Callender, to National Donor Awareness Month, where we continue to advocate and promote the advantages of organ donation, living healthy lifestyle, and also addressing the disparities that we know lead to higher rates of organ failure, especially within our patients of color. So with us today, we have Ms. Anderson and Danny, who are transplant recipients, and I'm going to give Ms. Anderson the floor to just give us a 3-minute spiel about your background and how you, when you got your kidney transplant.
My name again is Curtisha Anderson. I am from Kansas City, Kansas. I was diagnosed with a chronic illness called lupus. Lupus nephritis was my diagnosis at the age of 14. I, came into end-stage renal failure, was on in-center dialysis, and then I did peritoneal dialysis for about 3 years, regained some kidney function about 22 years. And then after that, kidney numbers started looking crazy again. So I went on dialysis for a second time. And about a year and a half after that, I received the precious gift of a transplanted kidney from a deceased donor. And I am now just made the 8-year mark with my kidney, and I've had 0 complications. So I'm very grateful for that.
Wonderful.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I have to say, not everyone is as lucky as you are, but you have done well. And certainly it's a blessing to be able to really have someone agree to organ donation and for you to receive that benefit. And so thank you so much for sharing your story. And next, we're going to go to Danny, who's going to give us a little background on his process of transplantation as well.
Definitely. I got diagnosed. I'm from Selma, California, close to Central Valley, right in the middle. I got diagnosed at 12 years old. I got into an accident. They couldn't find out what was wrong with me. They ran numbers, of course, and they told my mom, your son needs a kidney or either go on dialysis. So my mom got her blood tested, perfect match right away. She gave me a second chance of life, which is awesome. So I got a kidney from her. It lasted about 10, 11 years. And then I was on peritoneal for 10 years after that, and received a transplant. I'm on my 13th year of with my second transplant. Doing excellent, very blessed, and it's very important to recognize and love those who have sacrificed or have put that little pink dot on their driver's license. So we continue to appreciate organ donation, living and deceased. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you've had one transplant?
Two transplants.
Two
My mother gave me the first one. It
Mhm.
lasted about 10, 11 years. And then the second one was from a deceased and going on 12 years.
Okay. Can Ms. Sanderson, can you tell us a little bit about what was your quality of life and while you were on dialysis, and also how did it affect you mentally?
Well, when I first started dialysis as a teenager, it affected me in quite a lot of ways because I was in school, I was a teenager, and I couldn't do all the things that a normal teenager would do because I was always sick or either in the hospital. And that really affected me mentally because you already know that when you're a teenager, you already feel weird anyway. But then to add dialysis onto that, then that's a different story as well. As an adult, when I did dialysis for the second time, I worked and a mom and a wife and all the things that go along with managing a family. And although we made it work and we centered our lives around my doing dialysis, it still was a strain on the family. So having a transplant definitely was a game changer for us, gave me a better quality of life, and everything is going good. So yeah.
At what point in your process did you learn about the benefits of transplantation and went out and sought to get on the list?
I had a family friend to suggest to me. She worked at the transplant center, and for some reason, when I got back on dialysis the second time, I never really thought about a transplant. I just was trying to do the dialysis thing, and she came to me and she said, "You will probably be a good candidate for a transplant. I don't know that for sure, but you will need to go through the process to see." And so once she said that to me, I thought, that's probably a good idea. I'm an active person, and really dialysis was a inconvenience for me, interrupted my life and things like that. But like I said, I made it work, but that's when I realized that that was a good choice for me.
Okay. What about you, Danny?
I gotta say, at the age of 12, life changed dramatically, right? Not knowing, going to the hospital on a Greyhound bus to San Francisco 3 times a week, but just having that urge and that family bond and having that support system, it was so awesome. It was just having the blessing, not knowing why I'm going to San Francisco 3 times a week, and I would literally go from 6 in the morning, come back at home at 11. People would tell me, well, you missed a lot of your childhood. Yeah, but it happens to me. It happens for a reason, right? It happens for a reason, and uh, I always thought the positive side of things. There's somebody going through where somebody dealing with. It did change my life as far as trying to accommodate to the medication. Of course, transplant medications sometimes can be hard on the body. Trying to figure out. I was on cyclosporin, trying to figure out why am I getting hairy, and now I got no hair. But just trying to figure out, having the team, not just family, but also the transplant team, having that communication. I think to me, it made it, and having the community where I live and helping me out when I need transportation, that was a big, it took off a big burden on my family. To me, it's having the transplant team and my family be there beside me. It's the willingness to live. And I lost my twin brother from kidney disease when he was a baby. So a lot of what I do is for him and for other patients that can't speak for themselves. They don't know what's going on in legislation as far as organ donation and whatnot. So I just continue to strive and try to be the best person I can and appreciate the kidney that I have.
While your first kidney was failing,
Yeah.
what point did you get back on the list again for your second kidney?
On my second kidney,
Or
I
did
was
you
on.
go on dialysis between the two?
Yeah, I was on dialysis peritoneal. I was on hemo for a very short time until my transplant team, or actually a nurse, she goes, "Hey, there's this peritoneal dialysis. Would you like to try it?" And I was like, you have better quality of life, and I was like, "Oh, let me try it." So you have to learn a lot, right? Because you get a bunch of supplies at the house. Everybody thought I was moving out. I go, "No, that's that's my dialysis solution." So the transition, waiting 10 years, you don't realize, especially here in California, uh, how long the waiting list could be here, right? Because you see all the obviously what maybe 25,000 people are waiting on the list here in California for organ donation. So I knew going in that it's going to be a long time for me to to be on that list. But I never gave up hope, and really, like, my time comes, my time comes. So.
Yeah, makes sense. And that's one of the issues for patients waiting for transplant. Certain areas
Right.
have 10, 12, 15 years in terms
Yeah.
of waiting for a donor. And so it's very important for everyone, and even whether you've had a transplant or not, but even if you're on dialysis, to really promote the benefits of organ donation and get involved in your community, being able to so many people are not aware of the effects or the need for organ donation until someone, one of their loved ones, then is on dialysis, and then there's a need to be able to pass that information on. So, what have each of you done on your own in terms of promoting organ donation, or even going out to get involved with other groups?
Uh,
Where I live, sorry, here in we have the with network donor network. So
Mm-hmm.
they do a lot of. I go through DMVs and put up posters, pass out information, and give some of my story. I go to high schools also and talk to the high schoolers about my story, and also how important it is to be organ donor. So that gives them a flexibility to when they get their license, to put that pink dot on their driver's license. So I'll go to the DMVs, high schools, and we have a fundraiser, and just tell my story. All people that received, whether it be liver, heart, and just
Yes.
be part of. Be part of. It's just not kidney. I tell people, it's just not kidney. Of course, you get a lot of misconceptions, but once you tell your story and how it went for you, a lot of people, they see somebody that benefited from
Right.
receiving a kidney or organ, then they really switch. They're like, now I know why I
Now
should
you
look at.
understand. You
Yeah.
understand the benefits.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you very much for you, Miss Anderson.
Yes, just like Danny, I've also been in the classroom to share information about organ donation, share my story so that teenagers, once they get their driver's license, they're able to make a informed decision. I've advocated on Capitol Hill. I've been to my Capitol here in Kansas. Social media, National Kidney Foundation, my organ procurement organization here. I do work for them, DMV, talk to people one-on-one. I'm also a member of the transplant games, a team called Team MoCan. I'm the minority donor awareness liaison there. And so I just share wherever I can, wherever excuse me, the opportunity presents itself. I'm always willing to share.
Well, thank you so much. That is one of the most important things, is really sharing our information, making people more aware, because what we want to do is be able to have people understand the benefits of organ donation. And on the line with us is Patty Wessel. She and her husband agreed to organ donation many years ago. And Patty, tell us a little bit about yourself, and how did you tell us about your journey through the process of deciding to donate your loved one's organs.
Well, I'm a former ICU nurse, so I've been on the side with family members trying to make that decision. And it's so difficult when they're not aware of their loved one's wishes. And our son was involved in an accident. And unfortunately, about 3 months prior to that, my best friend's son was killed in a motor vehicle crash. At one point between that time, my children, their cousin, and some friends were sitting around talking about what they would want. So when it came to making that decision for us, it was really actually very easy because we knew what Billy's wishes were. And I think that, you know, the most important thing is for your family to know what your wishes are, because it relieves them of the burden of feeling like they're making that decision for you. So we were lucky enough, he donated his heart, both kidneys, and his liver, which were all transplanted. And then we also donated long bones as well. I actually requested to speak to Gift of Life early on, because I thought it was important for us to do that and for our children to be there to understand what was going on.
Yeah, and were other family members also in agreement, or was there any disagreement that perhaps, you know, for many family members, it's very difficult to understand brain death, and they see their loved one there on the table. They look like they're alive. They look like there's still hope, and often letting go or saying, you know, understanding that process can be very difficult.
Yeah, I think the fact that because of my background, I was able to explain it. My children were all adults at the time. Not old adults in their early 20s, but because they had had that conversation, we didn't have any disagreement. They were all in agreement, and you know, one of the best things that happened was getting to meet someone that received one of his organs. I consider her a friend now, and that has been really fabulous to see how somebody has moved forward and made such great strides in their life, and that, you know, you could be part of that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you so much. One of the things that a lot of donor families, or you hear as recent articles have sort of put a negative twist on the whole process of organ donation, and feeling like their families are coerced to go through the process of organ donation. Can you explain a little bit about what it means to be brain dead, and how the consent was obtained?
So, like I said, we knew very early on what was going on. And it was just a matter of waiting for that confirmation from the physicians through the testing process to determine the actual brain death. So it was during that waiting period. Again, I asked to speak to them because I knew what was coming. And I can understand people feeling coerced, but again, it's just, I can't say it enough. It's just really so important for people to know what your wishes are, because then as having been on the other side, there's a lot involved when somebody has brain death, because you need to keep their organs alive. So there's actually a lot of care from physicians and nurses that go on to prevent the kidneys from becoming damaged, and preventing the organs from becoming damaged, and making sure that those organs are viable for transplantation. So you really need to get them involved early so that you can preserve the organs. So I think that may be where that comes in, because they kind of get in there early so they can make sure that their blood pressure doesn't get too low and things don't happen that they can't use the organs. Did that answer your question, I hope?
Yes, yes, yes. You know, one of the things that all the realize, we think about kidney donation when we talk about organ donation, but we also need to realize that there is also, you know, being an organ donor, you also have tissue donation, cornea donation, lungs, liver, heart, kidneys, pancreas, and also, you know, long bones, valves, heart valves, as well as skin, as well as another tissue, tendons. So much can be donated just by agreeing to organ donation and being able to save so many lives. And I think a lot of it boils down to being aware, like you said, the importance of talking to your family beforehand, because that eliminates any controversy between what the loved ones, the members of the family are agreed to, or one person disagreeing with the other. And so that consent or knowing the wishes of the loved one, even if and understanding that can often eliminate all that's controversy. We've seen many families who may, even though the potential donor may agree to organ donation, that the family is not in agreement. And so that's oftentimes where the organ procurement agency will step in to explain. But understanding the benefits of organ donation and how it can save lives is so very important. And so going into schools, going into community centers, going into places of worship. November is also Donor Sabbath month, where it's given us a chance to partner with our places of worship to begin to educate, highlight donors, highlight those who have donated, as well as the benefits of that as from the religious communities. And that's also what drives in terms of better understanding. Often the news and what we see on social media may put a negative twist on things, and that can often leave a bad taste in many patients or many of people in the community. But it's so, the minute you see Danny or you see Curtisha to out there talking about their journey and also going back to the dialysis units and being able to talk to many patients who are sitting on dialysis, as we know, oftentimes they are often maybe reluctant to get on the transplant list because of not knowing enough, or even maybe knowing that the person next to them didn't do well after transplant can be discouraging. And not to say that transplant is certainly not for everyone based on your medical background, how sick you are, but the goal really is to not be written off, have other people, have the transplant center see you, evaluate you, and decide whether or not you are a candidate, appropriate candidate for transplantation. And we know that there is a shortage of organ donors. It's just not enough. The biggest issue is not having enough organs available for those who are in need. And that's where, you know, we hope to bridge that gap by living donation, also encouraging patients and their families to think about, is there someone who is willing to step up to the plate? I remember in my training, there was an ad that was put out in the New York Times by University of Maryland, and it had 2 kidneys, and it says, God gave you 2 kidneys, someone else needs 1. Well, it did create a controversy, but it got the point across that, you know, we only need 1 and we can survive with 1. And many people are born with 1 kidney and don't even know it. And when you get a transplant, your only functioning kidney is going to be that 1 transplanted kidney, and is able to do the work of that person, you know, barring the complications with rejection or infection and those kind of things. So yes, it is important to understand that, yes, if when you have 1 kidney, you really can't donate that 1 kidney. And it really boils down to, when we think about many families in terms of organ donation, there are those who says, well, we know I don't want to be an organ donor because I heard that my cousin's best friend aunt was found in a tub of water with ice, and they had taken her kidneys, and my grandmother went to the hospital and died, and they took her kidneys and we didn't know about it. So there are all these myths and misperceptions that are out there about the disadvantages that sort of scare people away from organ donation. And it's really upon us to really eliminate those negative conversations and talk about the benefits, and talk about those who are in need, and because certainly those bad stories can perpetuate and the whole family, people's like, okay, you should not donate because you don't know who's going to get that kidney, and they're giving them to the rich. And there is a list. There's a list. You get on the list, you are getting on the list locally, and you're getting on the list nationally. The list is really blind in terms of just whether you're tall, short, fat, whether it's kidney number 1, kidney number 2. So, some people say, is it fair to give people more than one kidney when there's others waiting? Well, there's a commitment for most transplant centers to keep people alive. And when that commitment, certainly if there are recurrent issues that may make it impossible to get a second transplant, whether it's antibodies or viral infections, the goal is to be able to increase the number, the bottom number. How can we get more organ donors, more living donors, and more awareness about organ donation? So I will give each of you a minute and a half to tell us some closing remarks. We'll start with Ms. Anderson first to say, what would you want to tell the audience out there about organ donation?
My favorite line is, organ donation saves lives, and I'm proof of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Danny?
I would have to say the same. I'm a proof, a testament that organ donation is valuable and something that we need to promote out there. And as people ask, my mother gave me her kidney, and she's 78 years old, doing great. So she's also a testament of what giving gift means, right? So I have my mother as proof. She living well, kidney, healthy, and just there's no words I can say. And I just want to thank all those who donated and who lost somebody, but I still remember the person that gave me their kidney, and that I will never stop forgetting about them, and thanking their family. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's very important, to reach back to the family and also keep in touch, whether or not they're, they may not be ready, but at least acknowledging that gift. And Patty, what would you want to tell the audience about organ donation in the band?
I think that the one thing it gives you is something positive out of a tragedy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You give that hope to someone else, and you pass it on to another person. And, Dr. Kellen used to say, you can't take your organs to heaven. Heaven don't need them. So leave them here on earth for someone else to benefit from them. So with that, Nancy, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Well, thank you so much, everybody. This was so informative. And for those of you that don't know, because we do have doctor-patient confidentiality, I'm in that same club. I received my transplant from a cadaver, and 14 years from me. And guess who my surgeon was? Dr. Scantlebury. So I am just happy. Danny, so glad to see you. It's been a long time. Curtisha, thank you. Ms. Wessel,
Always. Thank you.
yes, just met you. And thank you so much for coming on, just to make a difference. And, just to volunteer to do something like this means a lot. And we really, really appreciate it. Dr. Scantlebury gives so much of her time to us, and she's just really in this struggle with me. When I first started doing this about 2 years ago, I called her. I said, I need your help. What do you need now, Nancy? But she's always right there for me. So just thank you so much. And everybody, please enjoy the rest of your day. Continue to advocate for kidney care
Thank you.
and for organ donation. And as she said, you can't take them with you, so you might as well donate them.
That's
Thank
right.
you, everybody, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
bye-bye.
you.